Congressman Lee Zeldin of New York supports the new sanctions on Iran, and he joins us now from Long Island, New York. Congressman, thanks for coming on.
Happy to, Tucker.
So you have, I'm just trying to understand what that means. You have Michael Flynn and you have the president both saying essentially the same thing. This officially puts Iran on notice. That sounds to me like a big step toward conflict, a red line over which, if crossed, we will fight. Is that what it is?
What I think it is for the United States and our relationship towards Iran is a necessary reposturing from a position of weakness to a position of strength. What we've seen under the past administration is that we were starting to treat Iran like Israel and Israel like Iran. America's foreign policy should be one where we're treating our friends as our friends and our adversaries as our adversaries, understanding that our adversaries don't respect weakness, they only respect strength. We can't be silent, not because we want war, but because we want to prevent it. And to kind of sum it all up, maybe another way for Iranian leadership is the party's over.
Okay, but what does that mean exactly? So that we're officially putting them on notice. How will we know when they've ignored the notice we're putting them on, and what does that mean? What's our next step?
Well, we have seen a couple of things over the course of the last few days. One was the statement that you referenced, and today you're seeing 25 between individuals and entities having sanctions placed on them. There are additional options that are available for us to get leverage. What was the sanctions for today? Well, that was directed towards trying to slow down Iran's ballistic missile program, as well as resources that are going to the IRGC. Support from North Korea, China, Lebanon. There are a lot of entities connected to other countries, and these sanctions are making a step. Let it be known to those individuals and those entities, as well as whoever else can be next, like maybe Mahan Air, that we're going to take those actions. Now, big picture, the sanctions relief that we provided, the $150 billion as part of the JCPOA, right, or the upwards of $150 billion, we lost a lot of leverage. Iran is not at the table begging us for relief where we can negotiate what we need to with all of Iran's other bad activities. So this is just one step of what needs to be a multi-step process to get that leverage back on the table so that we can start talking about all of the other efforts to overthrow foreign governments, finance Assad in Syria and Hezbollah, their ballistic missile program, their efforts to, they're pledging to wipe Israel off the map and chanting death to America. There's a lot that needs to be addressed that wasn't part of the JCPOA.
Right, of course. I don't think anyone would defend Iran's behavior on a bunch of different fronts. But again, this seems like a line in the sand, and just for those of us following at home and with military-aged children, when exactly will we know if Iran has crossed it? If they conduct another missile test, will that be the spur to action, whatever the action is?
Well, it gives Iran a lot to think about, that there are consequences for their bad activities and that we will approach these conflicts from that position of strength. But the military option should be on the table. That doesn't mean that we want to use it, that we have to use it, but there's no reason to just unilaterally take that off the table because, quite frankly, we are the greatest nation in the world. We have the strongest military in the world. We have a much stronger economy here in the United States than Iran has over there. So as the leaders of the free world, understanding that there are other countries that follow our lead in the way we handle Iran, I think it's important for us to have all options on the table. As far as how that red line looks, I think it's a smart move on the part of the Trump administration to just reposture where we are from a position of weakness to strength. And over the course of the coming weeks, they were just sworn in, last couple weeks.
Well, sure. That's why that's why this was confusing. So, two questions really. Do you think the Iran missile program threatens the mainland United States? And what kind of support do you think the public would have for a war with Iran right now?
Well, there are some people who believe that the United States position as it relates to Iran's development of intercontinental ballistic missiles is because the United States is sticking up for Israel. these are intercontinental ballistic missiles. These aren't meant for Israel. It's meant for places like the United States. And every time that there's a ballistic missile test...
So you think they are a physical threat to the United States, the missile program in Iran?
They have made, I mean, on their holidays, they chant death to America in their streets.
Well, of course, they call like the United States, but are the missiles a threat, you think?
Yeah, they call, absolutely. Well, so aside from, I mean, they pledged to wipe Israel off the map, calling them the little Satan and America the great Satan. Every time they do one of these ballistic missile tests, it's an opportunity for them to make technical corrections and to improve their hardware. So these aren't just, it's not just a sign of aggression. It's much beyond that. This is them fine-tuning their weapon systems to be able to develop to be able to deliver warheads.
Okay, Congressman, thanks a lot. Lee Zeldin from New York.
Tucker.
We appreciate it.